Okay, so last question, is karate good for self-defense? Well, yes and no, right? So yes, it is awesome for self-defense because that was the original purpose, right? So karate was not recreational. It was not in the school systems. It was not for winning medals and trophies. It was for self-defense, right? So it depends on your training. So just because you have a black belt, just because you train 5 days a week, it doesn't mean that the karate you're doing or the martial art that you're doing is good for self-defense. So self-defense is very dirty. There are no rules. So true self-defense is exactly that. Somebody grabs you, well, poke them in the eye, grab the skin, or stick your finger in their mouth, it's just dirty. Break a knee, like bend that finger, dislocate it, things like that, hit the neck. You don't do that. Depending how old you are, there's no class where they're teaching 8-year-olds to, hit someone in the neck and poke them in the eyes and try to rip their ear off, right? So understand that martial arts can be used for self-defense, of course, and the more you understand it, the better your chances of applying it in self-defense. But not all programs are self-defense programs, right? So there's many recreational schools where, yeah, sure, you're learning to punch and kick and, block the knife like this and disarm the gun like this. But in theory, it's cool. You might see it in movies and it looks cool, but they've never actually applied it to a real-life circumstance or tried, hey, swing with... I'm not saying swing with a knife, but, swing with a pen and see if you can disarm the person before the marker touches you. And it doesn't work, right? Because the training comes down to it. There's a lot of things that in theory should work, but until you've tested it, it's just theory, and you have to know what it's like under pressure, full speed, full force. Movies are awesome, choreography's awesome. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do in martial arts, and it's all fun and games. But at the end of the day, it goes back to basic things when it comes to self-defense. So if you're looking for self-defense, make sure that your instructor or the school that you're looking at talks about it. So maybe you are at a school that does tournaments, and that's fine. Tournaments are a way of testing skills without hurting each other, right? There's a lot of coordination and timing and speed and conditioning involved in those types of schools. But if the instructor takes a few minutes to be like, oh, okay, well, today, everything, just grab them or see, fight with one hand behind your back. If they step out of that bubble of competition type training, you might have found a good school instructor where they are adding that discipline, or I'm sorry, not discipline, that self-defense aspect. So I believe there's 3 parts to martial arts. So I guess this question kind of goes on like picking a good school a little bit too, right? So if you're looking for self-defense, there's the sport aspect of it, there's the traditional aspect of it, and then there's the self-defense, right? So the self-defense one is much harder to find because it's dirty and not everyone teaches it. Or it's not taught until much higher levels, till you're a black belt. Unless you're looking at like an instructor that maybe they're teaching karate, but they have like a good military training, a Navy SEAL, a Marine type of thing. Or maybe they have Krav Maga experience, or, they were a bouncer, they've had, or they were a police officer. So, they have that experience where they've actually had to use martial arts in the street. So in there, you're probably getting a good balance of both. Someone that's had to use it for self-defense, but they're teaching you a structured program, and depending on your age, you learn the self-defense mixed into it over time. So yes, it is definitely good for self-defense, but it comes down to where you're training and how you're training. All right, guys. Well, I hope those questions answered anything you might have thought of. If you have any more questions, shoot them to me. I love answering questions. And thanks for watching. Don't forget to shoot me some comments, hit the thumbs up, and I'll talk to you guys real soon. All right, bye for now.